Ruth, I have a question for you,
Yeah.
which I think I've referenced this so many times in so many videos because I keep thinking we've talked about it, but we haven't talked about it officially. We've kind of mentioned it here and there. Dates,
Yeah.
dating, dating sucks, and it also rocks at the same time. But on that note, would you say I'm sure you can attest that there's been some incredible dates in your life, and then there's been some absolutely horrendous dates in your life?
Absolutely.
Yep, and I'd love to hear about both.
Should I start with worst or best?
Whatever you're feeling.
Okay. I'll start with the worst and then I'll also do one that was started as the no, I'll start with the best and then I'll do one that started as the worst and then ended up being one of the best.
Oh, there we go. I like that.
Okay. So the best date I ever had was I was seeing this guy for like a couple months and all of our dates were really good, but one it was around Christmas time and we decided to wear like ugly sweaters and meet at the Grove. And then we did bar hopping at the Grove, got pictures with Santa. We're like walking across that bridge at the Grove and the Christmas music was playing. The fake snow started falling and we like kissed on the bridge and it was the best. Like every element of it was perfect.
That sounds like a fucking Hallmark
I
movie.
know.
I'm like, I just like had a mind wipe of all of my dates. I was like, have I ever dated anyone in my life? Nothing to that caliber. That's incredible.
Okay, you go next. What's your best date though?
Oof, the pressure's on. I really honestly, I can think of more bad dates than good dates, which is very sad. But can you skip me? Can you come back
Okay.
to me?
Okay, wait.
Sorry.
I have it in mind. So
Okay.
so now the worst date that I had was I had this guy that was like pursuing me for a while and he kept asking me out on dates and I finally like gave in and I was like, okay, I'll go on a date with you. And it wasn't like he
Mhm.
was bad looking. I didn't feel like going on a date with him, I think at the time. And so I was like, okay, well, where are we going? He's like, don't worry, I'm gonna take care of everything. I was like, what do I wear? He was like, well, just dress to the nines, like blah 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 blah. So I get dressed up. I like have this beautiful skirt on, this like cute top, and I meet him at the restaurant. For one, he's late. For two, he didn't make reservations. For three, we're sitting at the bar. He's barely talking because he's watching the sports on the TV at the bar. And then we leave and he's like walking me to my car and he's like, oh, can I give you a kiss? And I'm like, okay, that's fine. He gives me a kiss. My friend's boyfriend set me up with him. He calls during that time. He's like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm making out with Ruth. I'm like, for one, we're not making out. For two, fuck you. And so I get in my car, I'm leaving. And at this time I was dating a couple of different people. This other guy that I was seeing like called me, he's like, where are you? And I was like, oh, I just left at dinner. He's like, oh, meet me here. And so I met him at like this steakhouse and we went upstairs and there was like this live piano player and we got a drink. He like got me out of my seat and like started dancing with me like to the live piano. And I was like, oh.
Saved that night.
Yes. And so then I ended up going home with him.
Yeah,
And I
good.
called Sandra the next day and I was like, oh, I was with so and so last night. And she goes, wait, didn't you go out with so and so? And I was like, yeah, so this is what happened. And Sandra was like, imagine if he would have walked into that second place that you
Straight up. That's hilarious.
have.
That's actually, but like, thank God that second man showed up
Oh,
and
sure.
like, didn't,
Yeah.
you were dressed up, you fucking came, like,
I mean,
you deserved a good date. Like, that was the universe being like, Ruth, I'm so sorry. Like, this
we
is,
apologize.
yeah, like you deserve, oh God, ew. I hate when men boast about like women in general.
And then also, if you don't have plans or if you don't want to make plans or don't know how to, like, don't say you're going to.
Mm-mm. I've had that plenty of times where I've had like the guys that are just like mediocre as far as planning. Like they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and then you show up and there's no reservations and there's no, and not that there needs to be reservations, but you need to know which restaurants need reservations
Yes,
and which don't. And
exactly.
that's the problem is
It
they
takes this much effort, just a
did
little
a
bit.
Google, a fucking call, like
There's websites, literally, even if you don't think it needs reservations, I think you should still make reservations. And if you
yeah.
don't want to do it, just ask the person you're going with. Say, hey, do you mind making a reservation? And then you can take care, like whatever you want to do.
Oh my God. Yeah, because me and you would have no ego if someone was like, hey, I'm like, say you're busy at work, but this is the place I want to take you to. Do you mind just making a reservation really quick for us two at
I made
8?
the reservations last night because I was
Yeah.
just like, Literally.
So easy, and we
Yeah.
have no chill. Like, it's like it doesn't take a fucking yeah, I've been on dates where it's like I've showed up to the date and yeah, we or like I showed up at the restaurant and they're like, "Oh, there's actually an hour wait." I'm like,
Yeah.
"You didn't fucking check this before? Like this is the place you wanted to bring me and then now we have to walk around the neighborhood and find a different place?"
Just such a factor too of like if they have any planning skills at all. And like if you're in
Yeah,
a relationship with somebody,
ever.
that's a huge problem if they don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say on the flip side of that coin, and this I'm gonna cop out with my best date answer.
No, you have to.
Well, honestly, like this fucking sucks, but I think I haven't had guys that go like above and beyond in that way. Like as far as planning, I've dealt with a lot of casual guys. Andy, again, brilliant,
Andy's our gold
brilliant.
star
We
winner.
had great dates. Like every single time we had awesome dates. So let's take him out of the equation.
Okay.
But as far as like other people that I've
Anywhere
dated,
super nice.
what?
Chandler never took you anywhere super nice.
Not really. Yeah, I mean, we were together for 4 years.
Mine is coin.
I know, man, that boy. Yeah, I think he just like we never really went anywhere like extravagant. And not that it has to be extravagant, but it was way more casual with us. And like the most planning he did was our first date.
Mhm.
And even then, it wasn't planned well because we showed up to the restaurant and there was a huge fucking wait. But I will say this was a good sign because he is so easygoing and easy to hang out with.
Yeah.
And I think it helps that I'm easygoing.
Yeah.
But we like put in our name and we went to like Tatsu Ramen, I think, in Studio City or one of those places. And it was by a Marshalls for some reason. Like it's in a Marshalls parking lot or something like that. And we were like, oh, let's just like fucking fuck around in Marshalls while we wait for our reservation. And we went upstairs and we were like going through Marshalls and we were talking about like life and art and stuff like that. And it was actually pretty cool. And then we stumbled upon a shit ton of Star Wars shirts. And we were like, oh fuck, I love Star Wars. And it was right before the reboots were coming out. And I was like, I'm gonna buy a shirt. I'm sorry. And he was like, no, I'm gonna buy a shirt.
Like I went
Yeah.
to Marshalls.
That's why I'm saying it's like not extravagant, but it was really fun because then we both bought a shirt on our first date and we bought it for each other.
Yeah.
And it was really like, if this doesn't work out, we just have a shirt. Like it was like funny, but then it ended up being helpful for like we stayed together for 4 years and we always had those shirts. So that was kind of cute that we got a shirt on our first date.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's stupid, but it was really cute and that was a good date. But besides that, like guys have taken me to good places, like good restaurants before, but like it's never been like a let me sweep you off your feet where you have nothing to worry about for the day. I have this planned.
Well, here's the thing too, like especially if you're in a long-term relationship, there's things you can do where it's not a reservation. Like I remember one night Adam wanted to like do something, but he didn't want to spend a lot of money. So he literally went to like a restaurant or like a restaurant of sorts, got like all this Argentinian food, and
Mhm.
then like laid a blanket on the floor, played like the soundtrack from Vicky Cristina Barcelona, and had like Argentinian wine that he had gotten, and we like that was
So much fun.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, I love a good like cook in night, and we did plenty of those. So like it wasn't like there was never bad like there weren't bad dates. Obviously, I stayed with him for a very long time. There were good dates, but it wasn't like him taking me to like a dancing club and us going to like this amazing restaurant. It was never that, but it was way more
That's
casual.
coming for you.
I was just gonna say my cop out answer is I haven't had my best date
It's
yet.
coming. I have a feeling. I have a feeling the person you've been talking to might fulfill this.
Oh Lord, she's gonna make me blush. Yeah, Maddie's talking to someone. But yeah, we'll see. She's talking to a couple people, but she's talking specifically to one person. That I think.
Playing Bachelorette right now.
But no, I do. There's definitely a front runner that I really like. So we'll see if he pulls up. But yeah, and then worst date, you kind of answered yours, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I've had more. I feel like I've had bad dates.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. That was the one that stood out to me the most, probably because Sandra like made fun of me for so long, and she had like this like thing where she would like she'd pick up a glass and she's like, "Can you imagine you're sitting there drinking?" You're like, because I walked in.
I love that. And that's like kind of goals though, to be like going from one date to another. I mean, like, sorry, like you ran into them. Could you imagine? Oh my
I
God.
wouldn't have felt bad.
Yeah, I get that. But
Yeah.
then it's like you don't owe them anything. That's funny. I like that. That's good. So I'm actually going to expand on the one that I like just referenced in another section that we were talking about. I don't know if they're who knows what order people are going to watch these in. But yeah, so there was this one guy that I was working with on set that was very nice, but I could tell he was kind of into me, and I was trying to be like,
Yeah.
we're just friends, you know. And he kept being like, let me take you out, let me take you out. And I'm like, don't think that's going to happen. I'm not really dating right now. I just got out of a relationship. And he was like, well, people hit on you all the time on set. And I'm like, yeah, flirting and going out with people is way different. And so he was like, the whole thing, he was like, please, I promise it's going to be a great time. Let me just take you out. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I had said no multiple times. Yeah. Then one day we got out of set really early, and we got off the bus to our parking lot, and I'm walking to my car, and his car was like a couple down from mine. So he walked me to my car, and I'm like, see you later. And he's like, what are you doing right now? And I'm like, going home. And he's we got out so early though. Like it's only like 4 p.m. Like we should like probably do something. And I was like,
but also it's a clear sign is if somebody's like that, let them leave.
Let them leave.
Yeah.
Let them leave. And I had already said no. It's not like I always was like, maybe. Like I had told him no, that I didn't want to be dating anyone. I wasn't trying to date anyone.
Yeah.
He's like, please let me like, you know, let's just let's get dinner. It will be really, really like simple. And I'm like, no, like I gotta go home and I live far from you. He's like, listen, I'll drive to you. So you don't even have to drive super far from you. Like we'll head to your city and we'll eat there. And he even though he lived like 2 hours away from me. And I was like, I really don't think you want to do that because it's going to be traffic and you're going to come. And he was like, please, you know what? I'm going to head out there anyway. So I'd like to take you. And I was just like,
that's just creepy.
Yes, it was very, very, yeah. So then we go, I just gave him my general, like the mall out here because I was like, I don't want him anywhere near my house. Like, I don't want him knowing where I live. So I literally was like, here, we'll meet at this mall. There's a shit ton of restaurants in this area. We don't have to eat at the mall, even though there's like really nice restaurants there. I was like, we can eat anywhere, but this is like a general place. He was like, okay. So we met at the mall and he was like, wow, this place is huge, you know? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, so where do you want to eat? And going back and forth. He's like, yeah, I'm kind of picky. I'm like, I didn't ask for this date. And then he was like, let's go to BJ's. I'm like, okay, let's go to BJ's. So we go to BJ's. Then we get sat, and again, it's like early dinner. It's like 5:30 or something like that. And we get sat, and he's like automatically uncomfortable. Like he's like looking around, and I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, I just hate sitting with my back to the door. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Straight up. And I was like, oh, okay. And he like starts like going into like panic mode where he's like not even looking at me. And he's just like, I don't, and I'm like, okay, I'll ask the waiter when they come if we can sit somewhere else.
Oh my God.
And then the waiter comes and is like, can I help you? And he's like not even looking at him. He's still in like anxiety panic mode. And I'm like, can we move to a different table? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. So we just pick it. I like made sure he was comfortable with it. And so then we sit down and we eat dinner, but it was like really rough. His mom called in the middle of it and he was like, oh, my mom's calling. And I was like, go ahead, answer it. Because I was just like, this can't get worse. This can't get worse. And then he's like on the phone with his mom and he's like talking to his mom. Yeah, I'm out with this girl, Maddie, that I work with on set. I'm like,
oh God.
We are not out. Like, we are not going out right now.
Yeah.
And like proceeded to ask me a lot about my ex, a lot about my past relationship, a lot about why I wasn't wanting to date. I again was like, I don't want to date anyone. It's really fresh for me. I'm just playing on field. And he was like, okay. Then proceeded to walk me to my car, made it very awkward. And as I previously mentioned in another section, but if you haven't heard it yet, he like stood there for a long time and was like kicking the floor and shit. And I was like,
also,
all right.
and that's such a turnoff. Even if you were attracted to him, like be a fucking man if you
Yeah,
want.
there's
Yeah.
there's a point of like confidence, and honestly, there's even confidence in asking. Like I've had a guy like ask so well, like, "Hey, can I kiss you right now?" And you're like, "Damn, straight." Like not only is it like consent, which we love, but it's also confidence. It's not like, can I kiss you right now? Like
Yeah.
there's a
And
point
the
to it.
confidence level behind it makes such a big difference.
Totally, totally. And if you're someone that like just wants to go in straight for the kill and you feel confident that the date that went that well, do it. Like I don't think I would be
Don't you
because
think there
I
are
would,
tells even like without words? There's tells, like
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's like the touching. We talked about this, like, oh, grab their arm, like you're so funny. Yeah, now we pull the mask down. So yeah, so he like it was really awkward and was like, "What are you gonna do for the rest of the night? Do you want to get dessert?" And I was like, "No, I'm good. I'm gonna go home. It's been a long day." And he was like, "Okay." And he was like weird about it. And I was like, "All right, bye." I don't even think I hugged him. And then the next day, he proceeded to tell me that he felt bad because he didn't kiss me because he knew I wanted him to kiss me. Needless to say, I was like, "No, bro."
No.
And this guy also had some very like sketchy conversations with me over text message that I don't know if this is the time and place to
What
bring
did
it up.
he say?
Oh my God. One time, this is really embarrassing.
Is it?
Not embarrassing for me. It's embarrassing for him. I feel like this is wildly inappropriate,
What did he
but
say?
I'd like to hear your opinion on it. One day he was texting me, like this was after the date. And because I think if this was before, I wouldn't have even left. We were texting one day and it was like at night, but it wasn't like super late. I'm talking like 9:30, yeah. And I'm texting him and he's like, "Hey, what are you up to?" Again, I wasn't texting him, he was texting me. He was like always trying to pursue me while we worked together. And I was like, "Oh, I'm just watching TV, keeping it really simple." And he's like, "Oh, that's cool." I'm like, "What are you up to?" And he was like, well, if I told you, like, it might get awkward." And I'm like,
Oh, I remember.
"Yeah." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm an open book. Like, I'll totally tell you, but like, I don't know." And I'm like, "Well, don't tell me anything you're uncomfortable telling. Like, I don't know what you're referencing at this point, and it's just like weird." And he was like, "No, no, no, it's cool. It's cool. I'll tell you." And he was like, "I'm masturbating." And I was like,
That is the weirdest fucking thing ever. No, that is a
"No,
serial killer.
no."
Serial killer.
And I was like, I just texted him, "I'm gonna let you go," because I was like, I can't even like discuss this. And the best part, this is not it's over encompassed because he's the worst person I've ever been on a date with. But the best part is he was like, "No, it's okay. I can do it with one hand." I can do. I'm like, is this low key sexual harassment? Like what? Fuck, like it made me so uncomfortable.
I'm surprised you didn't respond. Well, I really knew that you wanted me to text you while I was doing
I know. I knew you wanted me to jack off to you, so I just wanted to tell you that I was doing it while texting you.
That's so disgusting.
It is. It's obscene. It's like the actual definition of the word obscene.
Yeah.
And God, yeah. So that's fun.
That date and that follow up.
Again, I was not like into this guy ever. Like he really like he's a sweet guy. But it was never reciprocated. There was
Asterisk on that. That man is not sweet. I don't care. You're a nice person.
I know. I'm trying to be nice, like, because he has good bones. Like, as far as like he's a nice human. Like, you talk to him and he seems pretty normal, but then you fucking hear this shit and you're like,
Yeah. I'm sure people thought that about Jeffrey Dahmer too.
yeah. I'm so glad that this man doesn't know where I live.
Yeah.
Case in point. And yeah, that went really dark really quick. I apologize.
Date. Like we need to work on this.
Dates for me?
Yeah, you need like a good like solid date.
I know. I was thinking I had a good date once, like in high school, with a guy that was much older than me that had gone to high school before me and like was dating me after. But I was such a like little weenie that I like didn't kiss. I kissed him. I think I just kissed him on like one little peck. But he took me, like, we got food to go and he took me to like the top of a gorgeous mountain, and then like we sat in the bed of his car and like ate and talked, and that was cute. But I was like a nervous wreck the whole time because I was like 15, 16.
Oh,
And he was like 20.
What?
I think he was 3 years older than me, so he was probably 19. Not really the most appropriate. So that's also why I was like, and also like it's just funny because like most 16-year-olds that date 19-year-olds, I think are more mature, like have probably slept with people, you know, they're already like living their best life. This bitch was like barely kissed people at that point. So it's like, why was I dating a 19-year-old? Who knows? But anyway, that's me.
Coming.
I think it's coming too. I'm excited.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to take us on a great date,
submit your application to double date. So.
That's true. We love double date.
Triple date with Ash.
Triple date with Ashley. So we're gonna do it.
It's gonna happen.
I feel good about it. Isn't that horrible though? I'm
so disturbing on so many levels. I hope he never calls you ever again.
He does. He like comments sometimes on my like Instagram stuff, especially when I.
What does he look like?
He's all right looking. He's like a white dude.
I just need to know for my own if I ever run into it.
He's tatted up and he has like a beard. He's a nice face, but I'll send you his profile so you can see him. He's a stunt guy.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, and but he will comment on like some of the food I make. And he recently was like, man, whoever you end up with is going to be so lucky. And I was like, okay. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, stop, dude. Like, stop.
Too much.
Yeah. And I don't even want to consider that dinner a date, but
yeah,
we'll do it for the sake of the story because he thought it was a date.
Hey everybody, I'm Adam Khalil. Thank you so much for listening to this video. I definitely want you to subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more content like this. But if this content had any value to you, click the like button as well.